All right, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Sam Lane here on the YouTube channel of KOAM, keeping you up to date on the severe weather situation. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for a large chunk of our area. That would include the following counties. We're looking at parts of Cedar County, of course, Dade County, Lawrence County, Newton, Jasper, southern Barton, eastern Cherokee, and extreme southeastern Crawford County due to the squall line that's now moving through the area. In fact, if we take a look at the Joplin cam at 7th and Range Line, it's now starting to rain there. And I'm going to flip this around and show you what's going on. You can see that the camera's moving around quite a bit because of the very strong winds. And that's been the predominant concern with these storms, is the very strong winds that's producing some damage. We're getting reports of damage in Nevada. We're also looking at lots of power outages in the Nevada area. Last check, it was around 4,700 people out of power there in Nevada. But I want to show you right now, looking at the radar here, I want to go and show you the velocities, because this is what's really going to tell us what's going on with the winds. And right now, the strongest winds are in the Red Oak area, in northern parts of Lawrence County. And so in Red Oak, and that's moving over towards Miller right now. So you can see there the bright green. In fact, let me throw the little arrows here. The winds are blowing like this, and then there is a very broad circulation. You can see the winds kind of doing this number right here. So there's a very broad circulation with this, and if you imagine, if you will, well, I'm going to throw on the velocities here. Imagine, if you will, you're putting your hand in a pool of water, and you move your hand through the water. You get these little whirlpools forming along the outside edges, and that's kind of what's going on here. You have these strong downburst winds that are occurring with a thunderstorm, and sometimes they can spin up into a circulation, which sometimes can do damage similar to a small tornado. In fact, sometimes these squall lines can produce what we call QLCS type tornadoes, which is a fancy word, quasi-linear convective system. And that's a fancy word for squall line. So you can sometimes get these squall line induced tornadoes, or gustnadoes as they used to be called, along the leading edge of these strong and damaging winds. So right now in northern Lawrence County, and that's where we're looking at that possibility. Right now it doesn't appear all that intense as far as the winds go, so that's good news. We do have some damage, it appears, back in Golden City, back when these winds were over that area. The cities of Lamar and Golden City are out of power, so now we're looking at that. And so these strong winds, as they continue to blow across Lawrence County, be prepared for power outages and tree limbs and maybe minor roof damage with these cells as they continue to roll off towards the south and east. If we look at the spectrum width, you can see very clearly, very clear. Look at this line. Well, let's see if I can draw on this map here. My little pointer. Well, I'm just going to draw with my, well, let's see, where is my pointer? Well, I don't have the pointer on this one. But you can see this line right here. That is the leading edge of the gust front. It is now moving through Greenfield. So if you live in Greenfield, it's moving through there. And then it's rapidly approaching Mount Vernon right now. And then it will be approaching into Neosho very shortly. So the winds are blowing through Joplin right now. Let's go back to our tower cam and show you what's going on with that. And we will cut to that if I can. And you see that on tower cam, the winds have died down just a little bit, but it's raining here in Joplin, which of course that's a good thing, as we've been needing the rain for quite some time, as we're 11 inches behind on rainfall so far this year. That's not counting the drought situation from last year. So we definitely need the rain, but we don't need the severe weather. You can see lots of lightning associated with these storms as well. And so we're continuing to monitor it. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for those counties: Lawrence County, Newton County, Jasper County, and also a sliver of eastern Cherokee County in Kansas and southern Crawford County in Kansas. That goes until 11:30. Well, the big severe thunderstorm warning goes until 11:15. We now have a new warning that's been issued for the Springfield area until 11:30. But we're more concerned about our area, so the severe thunderstorm warning for our area continues until 11:15. I was hoping to see some of your comments. Let's see if I can pull that up here real quick on my phone and see if we can answer some questions or concerns that you might have. Okay. Christina says, I don't remember the last time we had wind like this in Carthage. Yeah, it's blowing through Carthage right now. It's going to start dying off a little bit over the next few minutes, but the worst is now passed through Carthage. So appreciate that. Limbs down at Zora and St. Louis. Thank you, Sarah, for that information. I'll pass that along to our news department. If you can, tell us how big the limbs are. Of course, I don't want you to go out and endanger yourself with lightning or anything like that, but if you could kind of give us an estimate on any hail that falls and, of course, any tree limbs that get blown down, if you could give us an estimate on the size, that would also help out a little bit. Also, if you lose power, that's also helpful information to us as well. In fact, I'm going to look over here and see if we can pull up the latest on the power outages. I know we had about 4,700 power outages earlier up in Vernon County in the Nevada area. So I'm going to pull up the latest map for that. Let's see here. That's the wrong map. Oh, here we go. All right, in Kansas, Bourbon County, there's 499 people out of power in the Vernon County area. And in Lynn County, it's about 1,700 people. And if we take a look at the region and pull up Missouri, in Vernon County, we now have about 4,600 out of power there in Vernon County. And now we have about 592 people out of power in Barton County. And if we take a look at St. Clair County, there's about 1,300 people out of power there. And now we're starting to get a few in Cedar County as well, about 161 people out of power, or 161 customers, I should say, out of power there in Cedar County. Really appreciate that. Power is flickering at the Missouri Southern campus. I haven't gotten any reports. I haven't looked at the report at the airport in Joplin just yet, but I will take a look at that. Power went off a second or two there in Diamond. Power is still on there in State Highway 43. I think it's like, yeah, Seneca probably is going to escape the worst of this. Most of the strongest winds are moving southeastward. So folks in Mount Vernon and Monette and northern Barry County, you're the ones that are going to be most likely impacted by these strong winds. Let's zoom in on the strongest winds right now. And it appears that they are weakening just a little bit. So that's good news. Near Stott City is where just north and east of Stott City, over towards Missouri 39 is probably where the strongest winds are right now. Okay, there's some power out at 32nd and Range Line, which is the south part of Joplin. It's flickering across from the airport in Carl Junction. Golden City right now, the winds have died down just a little bit. Yeah, I'd say the winds are probably down to about 30 miles per hour there in Golden City. We're not looking at tornadoes per se, like your supercellular type tornadoes. Instead, what we're talking about is the possibility of what we call QLCS type tornadoes. And these are basically gustnadoes, where you have gust winds from a squall line that can sometimes spin up into a circulation, which can do damage similar to a weak tornado. Wind starting in Neosho right now. Thanks, Alicia, for that. Webb City has been out of power for a little bit, for about 20 minutes, according to Tucker. Appreciate that. The 80-mile-an-hour winds were earlier up towards Fort Scott, up in that area, and also up near Nevada, where there's been some some trees downed, and also lots of power outages there in Nevada. So let's see here. Anyone in Pittsburgh? Yeah, the lightning is pretty impressive. The power is out at the Drury Inn in Joplin. Appreciate that, Stephanie. Yeah, it looks like a hurricane on the radar. Very good observation there. In fact, I'll draw on, it's a very broad circulation. So if you look at the winds here, they're doing like this, and then they kind of curve back like this. And so you have this very large, wide circulation. And this is the formation of what we call a MCV, or a mesoscale convective vortex. And basically it's a fancy term for a large area of where you've got this large whirlpool of air, and that's kind of what we're seeing forming right now in northern Lawrence County. And you can see that pretty clearly on the radar. So very good observation there. It's not technically a hurricane, obviously, but it kind of looks like something like that on radar as far as the spiraling of the arms. Power flashes at 30-second in range line. MoDOT cam looking back to the... Oh, that's Chris Warner. Thanks, Chris, for joining us. Hey, you're supposed to be on vacation, Chris. But of course, you know, being a weather guy and a meteorologist, Chris, he loves this stuff. We eat this stuff up. So I'm not surprised to see him join in the discussion, but appreciate that information there, Chris. He's probably accessing our MoDOT cams that we have access to. I'm kind of busy looking at a bunch of other stuff, so Chris, appreciate that report. The radar track, oh, okay, I can do that. I will do a storm track on this real quick and kind of give you a timeline on what we're looking at as far as the storms, and I will take off the velocity and we'll go back to reflectivity, and we will zoom back out here. We'll move this over here and we will do a squall line for you. And we'll project this out about an hour from now. And so you're looking at Mount Vernon at 11:06, Willard 11:09, Monette by 11:22, Springfield 11:30, Nixa at 11:47, and Cassville by about midnight. Now, of course, Berry County had severe weather earlier this afternoon, about a $half size hail down there in the Channel Lakes area in southern Berry County, so it looks like they're about to be hit again with another round of severe weather. So appreciate that, and you're welcome, Mary, for that. No, I don't know what Doug's. I guess Doug is streaming from his home. I hope you're able to hear me because it looks like the battery's on and everything's looking good here. The microburst down in Webb City in 2010. Type of tornado risk. The tornado risk is very low. Very, very, very low. It's mainly strong gusty winds, straight line winds. That's the primary threat. But as I mentioned before, we have to be concerned about the possibility of some of these winds spiraling up into a QLCS type circulation, which can do damage similar to a small tornado, able to flip mobile homes, that kind of thing. Carl Junction at this point, it's probably, it's moving through Carl Junction right now, but the strongest winds are now probably passed through Carl Junction. Clint reports some lightning in the backyard area. Appreciate that report. So we're not really concerned about the threat of tornadoes again with this line of storms. But if we go back to the velocities, and I'm going to move the map here down to where the velocities are located. And I'm going to save this view. And you can see that the winds are actually weakening now. So that's good. Right now the strongest winds are moving through Mount Vernon. And the leading edge of the gust front is now approaching Berwick, moving through Neosho and Stark City, now approaching the northern side of Goodman, and then eventually down towards Hart right now as well. But the precipitation basically ends just around the Galena and Baxter Springs area. Everywhere west of that is not receiving any precipitation from this squall line. In fact, I'm going to see if we can put this in motion here over the last couple of hours. So let's just do this over the last couple of hours, and I'm going to zoom back out. And so you can see that this squall line is making rapid progress to the south and east. So this squall line will be through our entire area probably by about 12:30 tonight. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue right now for Newton County, also for Lawrence County, Jasper County, of course, Dade County, a sliver of Cedar County, and extreme, Crawford and Cherokee are out of it now, so that's good. So we just have Barton, sliver of Cedar, Dade, Lawrence, and Jasper and Newton counties right now are under severe thunderstorm warning with that squall line as it continues to roll to the south and east. But you can see we're getting lots of reports of wind damage and strong winds from this. Let's take a look at this in Carthage. One large tree limb 3 inches or larger down. Unknown damage to a building there in Carthage. Appreciate that. That's being reported in. Also at the airport in Joplin, a 64-mile-an-hour wind gust. Someone was asking about that earlier. So the winds gusted to 64 miles per hour at the airport not too long ago. Yeah, so you're looking at about 60 to 70 miles per hour, slowing down in Dogwood Trails and Carl. So that's good. Yeah, Granby, Missouri, high winds now. Yeah, so it's moving through Granby now and now moving into northern Newton County. So it's going to be moving into the Neosho area very shortly. Basically, it's right along and parallel to US Highway 60, or just north and west of there, moving through Mount Vernon right now as well. We also had some reports. Let's see what this report is. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust measured north of town. That was back at 10:18. So gusty winds are occurring with these storms. And looking at the velocities, it appears that the velocities are decreasing just a little bit. So that is good news. But again, right now moving through Mount Vernon, rapidly approaching Monette. Would not be surprised to see the warnings continued for parts of McDonald County and also Berry County as these storms move to the south and east. They are not under warning yet, but the Weather Service in Springfield will likely probably expand this warning down for those folks as the squall line continues to move to the south and east. Tree down on top of my blazer in Dunaweg. Oh my goodness. Angela, so sorry to hear that. So we're getting more and more reports of damage across the area. Appreciate that report, Angela. I hope everything works out with you on that. But yes, the worst has passed Carl Junction now. Southern Joplin has power outage right now. Reporting rain there in Galena. Appreciate that. Wind and rain starting in Baxter Springs. So Angela, if you can, and again, I don't want you to put yourself in jeopardy, but if you could send us pictures of the damage, you can, if you're on Twitter, you can send it to @SamLaneWX, and I'd like to see that if we can. A power surge there in Carthage. Haven't checked for damage yet. Nothing blown up in the back area, but that's good, Clint. But again, the strongest winds are now moving into Monette, getting ready to approach southern Newton County towards Stella and Goodman. So you folks in Goodman and Stella, be on the lookout for some very strong winds. The strongest winds right now in Newton County appear to be just east of Neosho, near Stark City. So if you live in Stark City, that's where the strongest winds are right now. And of course, we just had that report of a tree down on a vehicle there near Dunaweg. So that's not good. So these winds are strong, and they can and are capable of producing some damage. Also near Freestat, approaching Aurora. The strongest winds right now are just south of Mount Vernon, approaching Missouri 265 between Aurora and Mount Vernon. So if you live in that area, be aware of the strongest winds that are approaching you. Severe thunderstorm warning course continues until 11:15 for that particular area. On Fur Road, major power surge. Haven't checked for damage yet, okay? Junky trash blown in your yard. Yeah, sorry about that, Michelle. It'd be nice if people kind of cleaned up after themselves a little bit so that debris wouldn't be ending up in your yard, but hopefully that can get cleaned up. Let me take a look and update here on the power outages. Okay, we're now out of, there's about 5,200 customers out of power in Vernon County, 877 out of power in Barden County, and about 1,400 people out of power now in Jasper County. So this is going to continue to be a problem as we go through the evening hours. Power is out on the east side of Carthage, according to Christina. Appreciate that. Yes, it's safe to go to bed, Mariah, there in Carl Junction. Yeah, I'd appreciate it, Angela, if you could do that. Don't put yourself in danger or jeopardy if you can. We'd like to see a picture of that. Of course, you're probably going to need it for insurance purposes anyway. Yeah, no roof damage being reported by Max. Max, if you could tell me where you live or roof damage. So again, the strongest winds are now approaching the area between Mount Vernon and Aurora on Missouri 265 near the community of Elliott. And that's going to be moving towards Verona and Aurora there in southern Lawrence County in the next few minutes. And then, of course, also strong winds near Stark City. That's going to be approaching Stella in southeastern Newton County and also towards Wheaton over the next few minutes as well. Stark City, Stark City right now is experiencing the strongest winds in Newton County. So batten down the hatches there in Stark City. We still are waiting an update from the Weather Service on this warning. It appears that the warning for, let's see here. Now they've issued a warning now for McDonald County and Berry County. So that's what we were talking about before. That warning goes until midnight. So you folks there in Berry and McDonald County, be prepared for gusty winds and severe conditions until about midnight as these winds from this squall line blows through. Let's go back to reflectivity, and we will blow this up here, show this over here. And you can see other cells are now developing just on the Stone Berry County line there east and northeast of Cassville. So we're getting other development further to the east of this squall line. But right now the front end of the squall line is now moving through southern Lawrence County, getting ready to move into northern Berry. It's moving through southern Newton County. So you folks there in northern McDonald County around Goodman and McNatt and eventually Coy, Pineville, and Anderson, these strong winds are approaching you as well. So be prepared for winds gusting up to around 60 to 70 miles per hour. No problem, Sarah. Appreciate it. Yes, Shakira, Joplin is pretty much in the clear. Trees are down on Highway 47 east of Girard. Appreciate that report. That's Bud over there in Kansas. And this squall line system has produced damage all the way back up into the Kansas City area from earlier tonight. In fact, there were some pictures posted on Twitter of some tree branches that had been thrown or landed inside windows in homes there in Overland Park. So this has been a long track squall line of damage across our area. So in fact, if we take a wider view, you can see, look at all the damage reports from the squall line up in and around the Kansas City area. And it has now made its way into our region as well, including that report that we got there from Dan there in Girard of some trees down on Highway 47. Okay, and they are reporting some hail. Yeah, there is the possibility of hail. Some of the hail is, well, matter of fact, let's take a look at the ZDR. This is what we call a differential reflectivity. And let's see if we can see where we might see some hail. Around Newtonia, there might be a little bit of hail there. And also in and around Monette. It doesn't appear to be large hail at this point, so that's good. And looking at the correlation coefficient, I'm not seeing anything that stands out as far as potential hail, or large hail anyway. Okay, here between Mount Vernon and Aurora, that's getting kind of concerning there. When you look at the correlation coefficient, now let me move this back down here. And let's save this. You can see the values lower there between Mount Vernon and Aurora. So that's an area that we're going to be concerned about. And you can kind of see a kink in the line there. And when you get kinks in the line, that's where sometimes you can get the convergence of the winds enough to circulate in a manner that can produce some damage. So we'll keep an eye on that. Neosho is pretty much in the clear right now. The strongest winds are now south of Neosho. Airport Drive and Carthage, they're looking good. North Heights neighborhood and Joplin reporting multiple power outages. Yep, appreciate that. No, there's no tornado. The tornado risk Savannah is extremely low. It's mainly strong winds. Yeah, and you're getting ready to experience those winds, Savannah, here in just the next few minutes. The danger level for Granby. Granby right now, the storm is pretty much has passed through the Granby area, so I think Granby is in the clear for the most part. The strongest winds are now south of Granby, moving into northern McDonald County. As we talk about all these storms, I want to emphasize, especially for you, the folks that are new to this area, it's very important to know what county you live in, and it's also very important to know which counties surround your county, so that if there, God forbid, there was a tornado warning for, let's say, Newton County, you would know that you live in Newton County. But if you live in McDonald County, and if the tornado warning was for Newton County and it was moving south, then you would know that it's going to probably be moving into McDonald County. So it's very important to kind of know your geography in the area, because these warnings are issued for county-wide areas. They're not issued specifically for towns. Now, I'm giving out specific towns because I'm looking at the velocities and trying to pick out where the strongest winds are located. But the severe thunderstorm warnings are issued on a county-type basis. So just be aware of what county you live in, and that will kind of help you figure out what's going on. Now, if I'm not calling out your city, you're probably going to be okay. If I'm calling out your town, those are the ones that that you kind of have to be a little bit more aware of. Okay, Stott City is out of power. No, Joplin does not have a tornado threat. Springfield. Okay, I appreciate that. Right now, the winds are getting ready to move into the northwestern part of Springfield, so we're going to help those folks ride out right now. It's moving through the Willard area. Strongest winds are actually approaching the radar site there, approaching Ritter and Elwood. You're looking at some pretty strong winds right there on the northwestern side of Springfield, and of course that will continue to move through Springfield over the next half hour. But right now in our area, the strongest winds are now moving into Aurora. If I had to pick an area, probably the strongest are between Elliott and Marionville. So if you live in Marionville and Bonham and Aurora, they're in southeastern Lawrence County, you are going to be impacted in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Okay? All right. Appreciate that, Busy Mom. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's go back to the reflectivity. And you can see that we have behind the squall line just some garden variety showers and thunderstorms, which is desperately needed for the rainfall. But folks, let's say to the west of a Chanute to Parsons to Columbus to Miami line, you're not seeing anything. You're seeing the lightning and the storms off in the distance. But folks in Sedan and Coffeyville and Independence, those folks are totally in the clear. This is not an event for you. The folks that are still under the influence of these storms are in Lawrence County, Berry County, Newton County, and McDonald County, and then of course also Stone County, which is just west of Branson. Okay. Yes, Neosho I'd say Neosho is pretty much in the clear right now. Rain is dying here. Things are ending near Tucker's Corner. Okay, appreciate that report, Clint. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's go to the spectrum width and show you what's going on with that. And spectrum width is really a good tool to use because it really shows where the leading edge of the squall line or strong winds are. And you can see that stretches from near Aurora down to just north of Purdy, and then moving through Stella and Goodman, and then back towards Hart. So that's where the leading edge of the squall line is right now. Of course, we're dealing with lots of lightning with this storm as well. Let's see, if I throw this up, I might be able to pull up. Well, I'm going to throw on the lightning strikes here. Take off the storm reports for a second, and we're going to throw on the lightning strikes. And you can see there's quite a bit of lightning with this activity tonight as well. If I can move this around, there we go. So you can see the strongest amount or the most numerous amount of lightning is there in Lawrence County right now. Oh, you can send it, if you're on Twitter, Angela, you can send it to Sam Lane WX. So it's the @ symbol, Sam Lane WX. That's my Twitter, and you can send it there. Okay, Jasper is in the clear. Joplin, yes, is in the clear. We're just going to get some garden variety thunderstorms back behind the squall line. Winds are picking up in Miami. Miami is actually kind of on the western edge of this complex. So the winds are going to be strong there in Miami for just a little bit, but I don't anticipate any damage or anything there in Miami or Ottawa County. Doug is probably streaming as well on his own personal page because he's technically off work right now. But we had Chris Warner joining us not too long ago. Jessica, Shell Knob area. Let's take a look. I believe Shell Knob is down in Berry County. Yeah, it's going to be approaching Shell Knob over the next 30 minutes or so. So batten down the hatches there in Shell Knob. There's a storm immediately to your north, east of you, but the strongest winds are yet to approach you right now. The strongest winds have now passed through Hart and Goodman. In fact, if we go back and let's take a look at, we're going to look at the velocities one more time. Load. It'll take me just a second. Hopefully this will pop up. Yeah, there we go. So right now, the squall line gust front is moving through Aurora. It's now moving through Purdy, Wheaton, moving through Stella, and is now rapidly approaching Anderson and Pineville. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues for Newton County and southern Lawrence County until until midnight. And then, of course, we have this other warning that is for McDonald County, Berry County, and Stone County, and that goes until midnight. So 11:30 for southern Lawrence and Newton, and then severe thunderstorm warning continues for McDonald, Berry, and Stone County until midnight. But right now, the strongest winds are approaching Pineville. Let's see, strongest winds along the leading edge have just now moved through Wheaton on Highway 76 between Cassville and Cassville and Wheaton. Also some pretty strong winds north of Pleasant Ridge now between Monette and Aurora. That's where the strongest winds are right now along US Highway 60. So if you live in that area, yeah, Miami is getting outflow winds. That is correct. The tornado threat in Dunaweg, is in the clear. Dunaweg is pretty much in the clear. The winds are letting up a little bit in Neosho. That's good. We have an electrician friend here in Joplin who says a transformer by Food for Less blew, and that's why the air is out of power. Appreciate that information. That's down around the 32nd and Rangeline area. In fact, I was at Food for Less earlier today getting some groceries. So that's down in the southern part of Joplin. So that's why southern Joplin is out of power, because of that transformer that was blown. Okay, Galena Crestline, yes, you're in the clear. Galena and Crestline, you're okay. Again, I want to emphasize, if I have not the tornado threat for Ozark, no, there's not a real big tornado threat. These are mainly straight line winds. And again, I want to emphasize, if I'm not calling out your town, you're pretty okay, okay? If I'm calling out your community, that's when you have to be concerned, okay, with the strong winds. There is not a zero tornado threat, but it's very, very, very low. You're mainly looking at very strong winds blowing through the Springfield area right now. We had some viewers and stream watchers there in the Springfield area. The gust front is now going right smack over the airport and the Doppler radar. And then some pretty strong winds now west of Republic on Highway 174, Missouri 174 there on the county line, north of McKinley. And then the winds pick up again over Verona. They're in southern Lawrence County and getting ready to move into Pleasant Ridge. And also Butterfield. It's moving through Butterfield right now, rapidly approaching Cassville with gusty winds. The winds are now starting to approach Pineville, and we'll be moving through Pineville and Knoll and Southwest City over the next half hour. And then, of course, we'll be continuing to watch the storms as they move into northwest Arkansas as well. But you can see the back edge of the storms basically stop at the Oklahoma-Missouri line. Everywhere west of there is okay. So if you're in northeast Oklahoma, you're fine. It's McDonald County, Berry County, Stone County, Newton County, and Lawrence counties that are under the gun right now. The storms behind the squall line are just producing some lightning, some wind, some rain, nothing severe. But the severe part of the line is, like I said, moving through northern McDonald County, northern Berry County, and northern Stone County. Okay, good. Power has been restored there off of Main Street near Reddings Mills in South Joplin. No problem, busy mom. Appreciate that. Northern Neosho, we still have power on. That's good. So the winds are, one of our trees, really big branch got knocked down in Neosho. So we are getting some tree damage being reported in Neosho right now. So, and that's not really surprising. So we might see some large tree limbs down, maybe some shingles taken off. minor roof damage, that kind of thing, as these storms continue to roll to the south and east into northern Lawrence and into northern McDonald counties. Not a problem at all. We appreciate you watching and watching our stream. This is really helpful. Let's take a look at some of the power outage updates, and let's see what we've got here as far as that goes. Jasper County, we still have about 1,700 people out of power. Barton County, about 1,300 people. And Vernon County, we still have about 5,304 people out of power. In Cedar County, about 306. Dade County, 356. And in Lawrence County, about 1,000 people, customers out of power there. And now in Berry County, we have about 495 people out of power. And then in St. Clair County, about 1,800 people out of power currently at this time. Okay. Newton County, most of it is through Newton County now. I'm going to call Newton County all clear at this point. The strongest winds have now blown through Newton County, and the strongest winds right now are in the Verona area in southeastern parts of Lawrence County, approaching Aurora and Pleasant Ridge and Bonham. That's where the strongest winds are right now. The gust front is continuing to move through Purdy. It's now located between Purdy and Cassville on Missouri 37 and on Missouri Highway 76 west of Cassville. And the squall line is now starting to approach Pineville from the north. So the winds are about to pick up there in Pineville right now as well. But again, the strongest part of the storm is over there in southern Lawrence County, now getting ready to move into northern Berry County. So if you're in Joplin, or basically if you are north of Neosho, let's say from Miami to Neosho to Monette to Springfield and points north, you can go to bed now. Everywhere else, south of Neosho, south of Monette, south of Crane and Aurora, you might want to stay up a little bit as the storm's getting ready to move into northern Berry and McDonald County. Let's see here. I'm going to switch the tower cam around. Let's show you. Well, I'm going to show you the tower cam here in Joplin. And you can see it. This is our camera at 7th range line. You can see the rain coming down pretty nicely there. No problem, Rob. Appreciate the folks in Miami. Yeah, that's a good question. At sunrise, you probably find some tree limbs down, a lot of leaves, things like that down and scattered around the area. But you can see the rain coming down, the lightning continuing there at our range line and 7th Street in Joplin. I can hear the thunder here at the station as well. I'm going to rotate the camera around, looking to the south. And you can see, well, I'm going to swing it back around the other direction. You can see the lightning still continuing. This is looking south on range line now from 7th and range line looking south. And you can see the lightning continuing there with the storms, and you can see the rain coming down pretty good there on the pavement. So again, the good news is we are seeing quite a bit of rainfall. That's a good thing. We just don't need the severe weather. Impressive lightning in Galena, yep. How long will the rain last? We're probably looking about another hour, hour and a half on the rainfall. Once you get behind the main squall line, the rain and thunderstorms will continue for about an hour and a half, and then the rain will start to go to bed. Good sleeping weather. We need the rain. Yes, we need the rain, but we don't need the severe weather. I totally agree. And of course, there's the lightning. So let's go back to radar. And let's see, what is this message here? Okay. All right. So let's go back to the velocities. And you can see that the strongest winds right now are moving into Pleasant Ridge and McDowell, moving towards Schoolton and Leanne. They're in northeastern Berry County. That's where the strongest winds are located right now, is between McDowell and Pleasant Ridge. They're in that bright orangish color, almost kind of a yellow there, just west of Missouri 39. That's where the strongest winds are right now. Also some pretty strong winds near Sage Hill. That's going to move over towards Crane and Elsie, which is over in Stone County, and then Scolton, and then Leanne, and eventually down towards Jenkins. This is all in northeastern Barry County. That's where the strongest winds are located right now. In Nevada, Samantha's reporting 3 trees down and power lines down in the road. So, yeah, when it went through Nevada, it put down quite a bit of strong winds there, and we got lots of reports of damage there in the Nevada area, and that's why they currently, right now, in Vernon County, about 5,300 people out of power in Vernon County. And we're still watching quite a bit of lightning with our tower cam there looking south on Rangeline. Appreciate that report, Samantha. And again, if you've got reports of the damage, or if you have pictures of what's going on, matter of fact, we had someone that was going to send us a picture, or I thought she was, of the damage that she had, a tree that fell down on her vehicle in Dunnaweg, but I don't see where that showed up yet. So I apologize for that, but anyway, odd. How's it odd, James? I hope it's okay. I hope it's informative. That's our goal. That's our purpose. Yeah, we need a cool down. Absolutely. And that's going to come next weekend in our forecast. Temperatures are actually going to get closer to normal. But between now and then, we're going to be dealing with temperatures of around 104 on Wednesday and Thursday. Wow. Okay, so you went to the shelter and it came right down on top of the shelter. I'm glad you were able to get out, Samantha. We appreciate, if you can, take some pictures of that or video and send that to us here at the station. That would be great. So that's the way it's looking right now. Again, the strongest winds are approaching Jenkins. They're in northeastern Barry County. The squall line gust front is now moving through Cassville. We'll be moving through Cassville, and then we'll be approaching Washburn in the next few minutes, and Seligman. The gust front is now moving through Pineville, and is going to be moving through Ginger Blue and Griffin Ford relatively quickly, and then Knoll in the next few minutes, and then we'll be moving into northern parts of Arkansas for our friends and viewers in Benton County in northwestern Arkansas. But strongest winds right now, by far, are near Pleasant Ridge, between Pleasant Ridge and McDowell, approaching Leanne and Jenkins and Sculton. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. The community there in northeastern Barry County, also near Sage Hill. Some pretty strong winds still going on right there. Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, I will definitely be careful driving home. Of course, Chris Warner is going to be coming in pretty soon to help out. He was on vacation last week. Someone else's canopy wrapped around our trampoline in Webb City. Yep. So moved through pretty quickly. Moved some furniture around, I'm sure, some tree limbs, and did quite a bit, especially up in Nevada. Excuse me. You have to excuse me. I've been dealing with laryngitis the last few days. And so it's getting a little bit better. I've been talking quite a bit, though. Power is out in northern part of Monette. Thank you, Judy, for that report. So again, as this squall line and gust front moves through, we'll start to see people losing power. But of course, that's one of the benefits of streaming on YouTube is you got your phone, and most people will have it charged, and you'll be able to continue to get updates right here at KOAM on our YouTube channel. And so that's a service that we like to provide, and hopefully you're enjoying and getting benefit of our platform, bringing you the weather information. As when the power goes out, most people don't have a TV on a generator or backup power. So we like to give updates as much as we can on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course on our YouTube channel as well. But again, if I've not called out your community, you're in the clear. Newton County, you're fine. I'm going to say Lawrence County, you're mostly fine. Extreme southern Lawrence County, you're still experiencing gusty winds right now. Of course, Jasper County, you're in the clear. Cherokee County in Kansas, you're in the clear. Everywhere north of I-44, you are definitely in the clear. If you are in southeastern Lawrence County, around Bonham and Sage Hill, still some gusty winds there. Also in Pleasant Ridge, Madry, Leanne, and wow, look at these winds moving into Jenkins right now. Extremely strong winds now moving into Jenkins in east central parts of Berry County. So if you live in Jenkins and Shell Knob, who was it that was in Shell Knob not too long ago? Yeah, so Hannah, you're in the clear. Hey, no problem. We appreciate viewers watching us there in Springfield. Yeah, you're okay in Stark City, I think. But someone was there in Shell Knob, and I forgot who that was. But if you're still watching there in Shell Knob, the strong winds are getting ready to approach you in the next 15 to 20 minutes. In fact, let's do a storm track on these strong winds. I'm going to do this track here to the south. Well, let me redo this here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a storm track on the strongest winds. We're going to track that to the south and east for about the next, let's do the next 30 minutes. So McCord Bend, 1127, Shell Knob at about 1130, which is about 4 minutes from now. The front edge of that is going to be moving towards you. Reed Spring about 1142, Branson West 1147, and Indian Point 1155. So, but right now, the strongest winds are by far, and they are pretty intense, is in the Jenkins area in eastern parts of Berry County. See all this yellow here? This is where winds are approaching 70, 75 miles per hour. So you definitely need to be aware there in Jenkins, in eastern Berry County, and southern Berry County around Shell Knob. That's going to be along Highway 39, and then Emerald Beach, and then of course Channel Lakes is down that area, Viola and Arrow Point. You are also going to be in the path of these very strong winds, but the strongest winds are going to be moving towards Jenkins, Shell Knob, and then eventually on over towards Kimberling City. So if you're watching us over there in Stone County, Kimberling City, and the west side of Table Rock Lake, that's where the strongest winds are moving towards you. You can see right here, I'm going to draw, this is where the strongest winds are near Jenkins, and this is moving towards the south and east. Again, maybe 70, 75 mile per hour winds occurring right now in that bright yellow area there in Berry County. So if you live in that area, just be prepared and hunker down and be prepared for the strong winds over the next half hour. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Berry County until 12:15. That also includes Stone County. And now a new warning has been issued further to the east that does include Branson. I don't know if anybody's watching us from Branson. Yes, Newton County is in the okay. They're in the clear. Yes. So everything's fine in Newton County. Yeah, Cassville's getting hit hard right now. Thank you, Megan, for that. Appreciate that. But the strongest winds in Berry County is just to the north and east of Cassville along, Highway 248, Missouri 248, going north and east from Cassville over towards Jenkins. So if you live in Jenkins or Cato or Hill City along Missouri 39 there, and then of course, Missouri 76 over towards Cape Fair, you are in the path of the strongest winds. There's going to be some wind damage occurring in east central Berry County in the next half hour, specifically Jenkins, Cato, Hill City, and Cape Fair. Now Cape Fair is over there in Stone County. So just be aware of those strong damaging winds approaching your area. Severe thunderstorm warning continues until 12:15 for those particular area. Ottawa County is all in the clear, Tisha. I hope I pronounced that. Is it Tisha or Tisha? But yeah, Ottawa County is okay. In fact, let's take a wider view. You can see quite a bit of lightning activity. Here's Ottawa County, just some light showers and thunderstorms there in Ottawa County. The really nasty stuff as well to the east. So we're good there. So for the next half hour, it's going to be southern Barry County, northeastern McDonald County, and Stone County. That's where the strongest winds and storms are going to be. So you'll need to stay with us for just a little bit longer. Now, once this storm, once the storm complex moves over into northwestern Arkansas, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. But you folks there in northeastern Benton County around Pea Ridge and Bella Vista, well, mainly around Brightwater, Pea Ridge, and towards Eureka Springs, which is in Carroll County, that storm is going to be moving towards you over the next hour or so. But right now, as I mentioned, damaging winds are likely occurring in and around the Jenkins area and Cato and towards Hill City and Cape Fair over there in Stone County. Everywhere else is looking pretty good at this point. But if you live there in eastern Barry County, specifically along Missouri 39, north of Hill City, and then also Missouri 76, going from Hill City over to Cape Fair, be prepared as some strong and damaging winds are going to be moving towards you over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. Okay? So that's where the strongest winds are right now. Also some pretty strong winds near Hurley. That's going to be moving over towards Ponce de Leon and Jamesville over there in the Springfield market, south of Springfield, over there on Highway 160. So some pretty strong winds right now. Now this is Galena, Missouri, not Galena, Kansas, but Galena, Missouri, northeast of Galena, Missouri, near Abbeville. That's going to move over towards Ponce de Leon in the next few minutes. Some pretty strong winds there. And then, of course, we have the strong winds that are now moving through the junction where 39 and 76 join together around Hill City. So Hill City, Shell Knob, you are going to be having the strongest winds in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So batten down the hatches there. Straight line wind. Yes, Pitt State. Yes, straight line winds. Anderson is in the clear, Heather. I sent you the pictures. I'm not sure how to use Twitter. Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You can also send it to my email, which is slane@koamnewsnow.com. I know that's a long email, but it's slane@koamnewsnow.com. If you send it to that email, I'll definitely get it. Yes, so Anderson, you're pretty much in the okay right now. The strongest winds are, again, like I said, over in eastern Barry County around Shell Knob, and Emerald Beach, just north of Emerald Beach, where Missouri 76 and Missouri 39 kind of join together. The strongest winds now have passed through McDonald County. The gust front is now moving into Bella Vista and northern Benton County. So if you live in Pea Ridge and Garfield, the strongest winds are approaching you right now and also approaching Bentonville. Excuse me. Let's see here. But some pretty strong winds are now moving towards Ponce de Leon, Reed's Spring, and eventually, I'm going to have to go get some water here. So if you'll just bear with me, I'll leave the radar up. But right now, the strongest winds are moving through eastern Barry County and into western Stone County. And then the gust front is now starting to move into northern Benton County. So if you live in those areas, just be aware of the suit. Yeah. The strongest winds are near Shell Knob, approaching Reed's Spring and Kimberling City, which is the western side of Lake Table Rock. Okay, let's get an update on the power outages here. Okay, St. Clair County, 1,400 people out of power. Vernon County still looking at 5,400 people without power. Barton County, 763. Jasper County, about 1,700 customers are still out of power. Lawrence County, 1,100. Dade County, 625. And Berry County now has about 657 customers out of power in those areas. Now, if we go back to the region, and we'll see what Kansas is up to. There's still quite a few people in Franklin County out of power. Lynn County, 1,600 people out of power. Bourbon County, which is the Fort Scott area, 500 people out of power. Crawford County, 368. 155 over in Allen County. So not as many people out of power over in Kansas, so that's good. Nevada, Vernon County appears to be the strongest hit area as far as the power outages. In Eureka Springs, let's take a look. It's going to be moving into Eureka Springs. The gust front is going to be approaching Eureka Springs probably in about 15 minutes. So you got a few minutes to batten down the hatches and put up the lawn furniture, and just a little bit there, JW, there in Eureka Springs. We really appreciate people watching us. I'm curious, are you able to watch KOAM there in Eureka Springs, or do you get the Fort Smith stations or Springfield? That would be interesting to know. So looking at the velocities right now, the latest update, you have some very strong winds now approaching Ponce de Leon and Abbeville, there south of Springfield. Also Galena, Missouri, not Galena, Kansas, but Galena, Missouri is getting hit pretty hard right now too. Cape Fear has some really strong winds too. Hill City and Shell Knob in eastern Berry County in our area is where the strongest winds are right now. The gust front is now moving through southern Berry County and now starting to move into northern parts of Carroll County and northern Benton County around Garfield and Pea Ridge. So folks in those areas, just be prepared for some very strong winds gusting through in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Oh, just YouTube? Okay, well, thanks for watching us on YouTube. We really appreciate that. Bernice, Oklahoma had some very strong winds for about 10 minutes. Appreciate that report, Lucy. That's over in Ottawa County. So we appreciate that report. That was the outflow from these storms as they continue to blow across our area. The outflow did impact those areas in Oklahoma as well. You can see the gust front here, this green line here, stretching from Bentonville to north of Jay, over to south of Veneta, on over into just south of Nowata. So that's where the gust front is. But by far the strongest winds are right now in Shell Knob, Emerald Beach, and also that community of Hill City. And also Cape Fear over in Stone County, and now rapidly approaching Kimberling City and Branson. You can see the update there, the latest update. The strongest winds are now moving into Branson West, which is over there by Silver Dollar City, and then Kimberling City, and then some strong winds near Viola, Arrow Point, Carr Lane. It's getting ready to approach Carr Lane and through Chain of Lakes. But the strongest winds are now in the Silver Dollar City area near Branson West and just west of Kimberling City. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Berry County and Stone County until 12:15, which is another, about another 30 minutes or so. Now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning being issued for Carroll County and eastern Benton County, which would include Eureka Springs and Berryville, as well as Bentonville and Huntsville. And that's down in Arkansas. So some gusty winds are headed towards you. So severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for those counties, and that goes until 12:15 as well. All right. Some pretty strong winds there near Nixa, Missouri right now, hitting Nixa, especially the south side of Nixa, and McCracken, moving towards McCracken, Highlandville, and Saddle Brook. Was that? Saddle Brook. And then, of course, Reed's Spring Kimberling City, Silver Dollar City area, Branson West. That's where the strongest winds are right now. Oh, ball lightning. That's cool. Yeah, we got viewers from Lake Erie tonight, Ohio side. Wow. Yeah, Springfield had some storms earlier. Appreciate that. David Smith, raining hard. Where are you located, David? While I drink some water here. Okay, well, we're waiting on that. Let's go back to the preset mode. You can see that this is definitely a lined out system now. It's moved through Springfield. It's now moving into Branson and has moved through Cassville, the majority of it, and is now moving into extreme northeastern Benton County and moving towards Berryville there in northern Arkansas. The good news is it appears that the winds are weakening just a little bit, but the lightning activity is still maintaining itself. And of course, this is also producing quite a bit of heavy rain in a very short period of time. Springfield, okay, well, thanks for watching us over there in Springfield. So let's go back to the velocities. Excuse me. I do apologize. I've been dealing with what I believe was COVID the last few days, along with laryngitis. So I apologize for that, but it can't be helped. But right now, the strongest winds are moving through Stone County, through the Reed Spring area, around Branson West, which is where Silver Dollar City is located, and Kimberling City, Viola, and Emerald Beach. That's where the strongest winds are right now. So at 12:15, I'm going to call it a night for our area. Yeah, it's raining pretty good there in Springfield, which of course the entire area needs rainfall, that's for sure. But at 12:15, when these warnings expire, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And Chris Warner, who will be coming in shortly, he may do some streaming if the warnings continue, but it looks like they're going to be out of our viewing areas. So I don't know if any stations are streaming or broadcasting in Springfield, but hopefully they are. If they are not, then just keep tuned to a weather radio if you have that. And of course, the National Weather Service website as well. And of course, your phones should alert you as well if anything goes crazy. But the main thing is these storms are producing strong winds. That's what we're seeing with these cells. And also some power outages, tree limbs. Unfortunately, some tree limbs have landed on some vehicles up near Denaweg, which is on the eastern side of Joplin, earlier this evening. And then, of course, we're getting lots of reports of trees down in Nevada. Also, lots of tree limbs down in the Carthage area. And so, typical summertime thunderstorms rolling through with strong straight line winds, some small hail, and of course, frequent lightning and very heavy rainfall. But no one's complaining about the heavy rainfall, that's for sure. Excuse me. Oh, Springfield is not. Okay, well, don't know what the situation is over there in Springfield, but I'm doing the best I can, but we don't generally cover Springfield, but maybe we should start. Who knows? Have our own. Okay, now we're getting reports of a wind gust here. Let's find out what that wind gust was there in Branson or just west of Branson. 74 mile an hour winds at Kimberling City, which I just said a few moments ago, strongest winds were approaching the Kimberling City area, and that's hurricane force, folks. 74 miles an hour is hurricane force. So don't be surprised if there's going to be a lot of tree limbs down, trees may be blown down, maybe some minor roof damage with some of these storms as they continue to roll through to the east, moving through Nixa, now moving through Spokane, Reed Spring, rapidly approaching Branson now, moving through Emerald Beach, and moving towards Blue Eye, which is right on the Missouri-Arkansas line. And then, of course, northern parts of Carroll County, north of Eureka Springs. So Eureka Springs is about to experience some pretty strong winds as well. But by far, the strongest winds are now near Viola and Emerald Beach. Okay, we just got an update here on the radar. Okay, it's blowing through Eureka Springs right now. But the strongest winds appear to be just east of Eureka Springs near Grandview and over towards Urbanette. Also some pretty strong winds approaching Blue Eye, also Coney Island, Indian Point, and now moving into the northern and northwestern parts of Branson. So wouldn't be surprised, and these are really strong winds, folks. Saddlebrook as well along Highway 65 there. The winds are rapidly approaching Highway 65 going north out of Branson. So Branson is about to get hit pretty hard with some hurricane force winds, which of course can do damage similar to a small tornado. Now again, no tornado warnings are in effect, severe thunderstorm warnings only, but I do want to emphasize these winds can produce damage similar to a small tornado, and that's what we're seeing with these winds gusting up to 74, 75 miles per hour moving through the Branson area. So if you have friends and family over there, that's what's getting ready to happen there. In the meantime, the strongest winds are now moving out of our viewing area, thank goodness, and are now moving into northern Arkansas, northern Carroll County, and Stone County, and Taney County, and those warnings will go until about 12:30 for those areas. And for our areas, these warnings will expire at about 12:15, if not sooner. Let's go back to the precipitation mode, and you can see that this is a pretty powerful squall line, and this is squall line that has produced damage all the way from northeastern Kansas, from around the Topeka area, west of Kansas City, Overland Park, and then rolled through the Fort Scott area, Nevada, where there was quite a bit of damage there, and then across the eastern sides of Joplin Metro, and moved through Mount Vernon, Monette, and is now moving into Branson and Table Rock Lake. So it's moving out of our area in southern Berry County, moving into Stone, Taney County, Greene County in Springfield area, Christian County, and then of course eastern Benton County in northwestern Arkansas. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here at about midnight. So in about 13 more minutes, I'm going to call it for our area. And let's see, 1,800 people out of power in Jasper County, 1,500 in Lawrence County, 732 in Berry County, and still about 5,000 people out of power in Vernon County. Let's see, if you go to our Joplin News Now, if you follow Shannon Beckert on Joplin News First or KOAM News Now on Instagram, Shannon does a really good job at getting a lot of information and getting that posted. So he might be posting pictures of damage that has been occurring across our area tonight and this morning. But if you live in that Vernon County area around Nevada, if you do have any pictures of the damage, send that in to us. You can send it to slane@koamnewsnow.com, or you can go to my Twitter at samlanewx. So right now I'm going to take one more look at the velocities on these winds. And Branson is definitely being pounded right now with some very strong gusty winds there. And also we're getting reports of damage, power outages and so forth due to strong winds in Ozark, due to 60-mile-an-hour winds just a few moments ago there. Let's see what this report is here. 70-mile-an-hour winds in West Branson. And again, that is in Stone County. But of course, that's what we were saying a few moments ago. So very strong winds now moving through Branson. And also approaching Eureka Springs and Berryville. They're in Carroll County in northwestern parts of Arkansas. So the severe threat is now apparently over for Berry County, which is in our viewing area. So as a result, I'm going to call it a night. And I do want to thank you for watching and keeping up to date with us here on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Springfield is getting some strong winds, although it's now predominantly over for the Springfield area. The strongest winds are now south and east of Springfield. Carl Junction. Well, let's take a look at that. This is just going to be garden variety showers and storms. Yeah, in the Carthage area, Carl Junction. Nothing severe right now. No winds causing any severe, just some good heavy rainfall, which is desperately, desperately needed. So I'm glad to see that we're getting some what we call training, which is more thunderstorm activity back behind. It's also called post-stratiform rain shield. So you get a squall line, and then back behind the squall line, you'll get convection as well, and it will generally produce really good soaking heavy rains. And that's what we're seeing in Cherokee County, Jasper County, Joplin metro area. There are some lightning strikes that are occurring with that, but nothing severe at this point in time there in Carl Junction, and do not anticipate it as well. Still very windy in Bernice. Yep, the winds are still blowing there in Delaware County and also Ottawa County. But by far, the strongest and most damaging winds, as you can see on the radar here, and I'm going to draw this little arc. Well, I thought I was going to be able to. Let me zoom back out. All right, let's draw a line here. For the next, let's go for the next hour. And so you can see Berryville, it's right on top of you right now. Alpena, bat via Harrison, Arkansas by 1237, and Ava by 1242. So this is the path of the strongest winds, the leading edge of the squall line system. And if you take a look at those winds, Branson is just getting really pounded right now with probably around 70 mile per hour winds occurring right now in Branson. So hopefully they have battened down the hatches there. And of course that squall line is moving towards Ava, Thornfield, and Lead Hill over the next half hour. No problem, busy mom. Excuse me. Okay, so without further ado, have a great morning. Stay with us. We'll keep you advised. Again, if anything changes, Chris Warner will be here probably within the next hour. And he may or may not stream. I don't know. He'll probably start preparing for our morning newscast at 5 a.m. But he will be on duty here pretty soon. But right now, the threat is primarily over for our area. We just have some strong storms in our area, in the metro area right now, with some lightning and some heavy rainfall. You can see the tower cam there looking south on range line. Periodic lightning flashes. And I'm going to turn the camera around here. Looking to the west, you can see good soaking rains right now across the Joplin metro area. A little bit breezy still, but that's good sight to see right there with the strong storms with heavy rainfall. Excuse me. All right, so that's going to call it I'm going to call it a night. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. And you have a great morning.